I love my wife very much, but we're from different cultures. In hers, if a person needs something you have, you give it to them. If you need something, you get a job, get paid, and buy what you need. While I earn most of our income, my wife runs a day home and takes care of our kids in the house. We take our money and pay our bills, put some away for emergencies, our retirement, kids' education, etc. We also keep an account for traveling to visit our family or paying for her mom and dad to visit us. My wife has given away a bunch of my stuff because her family needed it. She gave my trekking backpack to one of her cousins because he needed one. She could have bought him a $30 Costco backpack instead of giving away my $400 backpack, which he promptly got stolen. The last straw was my laptop. I was away for the weekend at a friend's wedding that she didn't want to attend. Her auntie was visiting and said my wife's brother needed a computer for schoolwork. Since all I ever did was play games on it, she gave it to her brother for university. I tried to get it back. She said it would be rude. I explained that the only reason she saw me just play games with it was because I was home. When I leave in the morning and take it with me, it's to earn money doing a job that I'm paid for. She said I didn't have to talk to her like she was dumb, but she refused to ask for it back. I replaced it with money from the travel fund, meaning we will not see her parents this Christmas. She's angry. She said that I took money that belonged to both of us to buy myself something. I asked her where the money should come from. Should I take it out of our retirement? Our kids' education? Does she want to put off replacing the furnace with winter almost here? I said I could cancel that if she wanted. She said that I could have just put it on the credit card. I asked her to explain where the money to pay the credit card would come from. She thinks I'm treating her like an idiot. She needs to stop giving my things away. Am I the idiot for replacing any property of mine that my wife lends out or gives away from our travel savings? Not the idiot. It's easy to be generous when giving away stuff that isn't yours, but as soon as it affects her, suddenly it's a big deal. And her ideas about credit cards being free money? This is pure and utter financial incompetence from your wife. Your wife needs a knowledge bomb slap in the face of currency, finances, and budgeting. She doesn't even understand money as a concept based on her actions. She has no idea about the value of money, what you bring home, how money supports your life, or anything. The real solution is to sell off her property until you recoup the cost of her generosity. But given her ideas about credit cards being free money, I'd say you have a more significant financial issue in your marriage. Personal property is the individual owner's property. It's not joint marital property just because you're married. She needs to learn the difference. Maybe put it on her magical card. She's an idiot. Or she can get a temporary part-time job to cover the cost of replacing them. Each time she gives something away, it extends the time she needs to continue working. Let's see how long it takes for the penny to drop. There's a big difference between I gave away some of the kids' old clothes that don't fit them anymore and I gave away your computer with God knows what personal work or financial files on there. Absolutely psychotic. Oh, she's not an idiot. She knows exactly what she's doing. That's why when it affects her, she understands. She's a gold digger and is siphoning big his wealth to her family. No one gives away a $400 backpack to someone and they instantly lose it. OP, check your Facebook marketplace or pawn shops. She's stealing from you. Your marriage is not as good as you seem to think. That's such a good point. She absolutely is stealing from him. She thinks her family is more important than the one she's created with her husband. And looks like the family knows where to go when they want free, expensive gifts. I would be angry if I couldn't even trust leaving my house due to my spouse. Does she give away money also? OP, this has got to stop. The next thing she gives away, you're reporting it stolen. My dad fathered twin girls outside my mom and his marriage, which had a super hard effect on my mom, as she always wanted to have another child, but kept undergoing miscarriages after she had me. Ever since their birth, to up until 2 years ago, I, nearly adult female, wasn't allowed any contact with my two younger sisters, and the only help my father ever gave to them was financial help. 2 years ago, my siblings' mother contacted my father and begged him to take them, as she was no longer in a position to care for them due to becoming terminally ill. My father convinced my mom to allow him to take them in, which my mom allowed because she felt sympathetic toward them. They were tweens at the time, and ever since they came to live with us, family members from both my mom and dad's sides keep making comments about how they look like an off-brand version of me, or that I'm lucky I'm blessed with my mom's genes. They're so disrespectful that they say this in front of my sisters, which not only makes them feel bad, but makes me extremely uncomfortable. Yesterday night, we had a family get-together for a baby shower. During it, some of my family members, including my mom, were saying comments similar to those I mentioned before, in earshot of my sisters, making them uncomfortable. I brought it up to my dad, and all he did was shrug his shoulders and continue with the conversation he was having. So I took it upon myself to do something and told my relatives, who compared our looks, that it made my sisters and me uncomfortable. I would rather them not talk about it again, especially at events where we're supposed to celebrate. I'm not confrontational, so I was a little awkward asking them to stop. My relatives, especially my mom, did not take it well and accused me of choosing my sisters over my mom and speaking to her disrespectfully. They started to raise their voices, resulting in my grandma, dad's side, defending me and calling them all immature for insulting children. Everyone left early, and the baby shower was ruined, which ended up being blamed on me. My mom is mad at me and has left to stay at her sister's place because she's upset. My dad apologized to my sisters and me for not addressing this issue early due to his guilt and discomfort. I feel horrible about the whole situation and feel like I could have waited for a better time to ask them to stop. Was I in the wrong here? Honey, you are not wrong and not the idiot. And I just want to say my heart swelled. You phrased that so well. You handled it perfectly and did such a good job. But wow, where do we start with the adults in this story? Your mom is a huge witch to your sisters, and she's doing it to hurt them on purpose. She still feels angry and hurt by what your father did, but instead of taking her anger out on him, she's taking on two innocent children who lost their mother a few years ago. She's also probably wanting to drive a wedge between you and your sisters. She hoped that all those compliments would make them resent you and you feel superior to them. She's being a manipulative idiot. Please continue defending your sisters from her abuse. They don't deserve this. They deserve love. She's hurt, and those two kids, while innocent, are a slap-in-the-face reminder of the worst thing he did to her, and it absolutely eats her. But she probably did her best to forgive him, or at least forget for her daughter's sake, and accepted the two children out of compassion and understanding of their innocence. But that doesn't mean she isn't hurt and confused. She probably feels like her daughter, the one she went through all of this emotional turmoil for, loves her half-sisters more than her. I wouldn't call her a huge witch, nor that she's necessarily doing it on purpose, but she's certainly messed up, and her family enabling the snarky remarks and playing sides really doesn't help her mental state. I feel if she were a witch, she would have just said no to the twins moving in. And what about the dad, the one that fathered twin girls outside of the marriage, the one that could hear the insults and did nothing, the one that only now that his mother stepped in is now stepping up for all three daughters? What about the dad's abuse? He neglected his daughters. They're both awful. I, female 28, am Latina, and my husband, 29, is white. We met in college and got married 2 years ago. His parents have always had issues with our relationship, making indirectly offensive comments about me. They never accepted me as part of the family and treated me like a stranger. A year into the marriage, the situation reached a point where I asked my husband to choose between me and his parents. He chose to stay with me, and we cut off contact with them. Despite my husband defending me from indirect comments, I couldn't handle their disrespect. I felt hurt every time I had to interact with them. I'm in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy with our first child, and somehow my husband's parents found out. They started calling and texting my husband. I don't know how they got his number, apologizing and expressing a desire to meet their grandchild when it's born. They claim to have changed, and we shouldn't deny them that. I don't believe them, and I don't want them to have any contact with my child. I don't trust them, and I'm afraid they might do something to harm us. I also don't want my child growing up hearing the same horrible things that they said to me. I think they don't deserve to be a part of my child's life after everything they've done. My husband is torn. He says he understands my side, but also misses his parents and wants to give them a chance. He thinks they're our child's grandparents and might have genuinely changed. He wants to reconcile with them and wants me to do the same. I refuse to do that, and I've told him he can do as he wishes, but I won't let them see our baby when it's born. I say this is my final decision, and he has to respect it. He was upset with me, but he agreed, and we haven't discussed it further. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Have they tried to make amends to you for the way they treated you? If not, then they haven't changed, because that's exactly what a person who has changed would do. Apologize for being an idiot. Point that out to your husband and remind him that his child is the race they find appropriate to attack. Does he really think his child should be exposed to that? Don't let your kid around them. But if your husband misses them, there's no reason he can't see them on his own, not at your home. Both you and your child deserve to be safe in your own home, and inviting idiots over is the opposite of safe. Please don't. My grandma was a loving woman who was bigoted. She loved me, but never forgot I was colored. She told me never to go out in the sun. I would get too dark, and told everyone I was Italian, not Puerto Rican. And when I misbehaved, she said I was bad, just like my dad. Do not let these people near your child. They may love the pieces they see of their son, but they won't forget what they don't like about you. It'll mess your kid up. I, 45 female, have been a stepmother to Lucy, nearly adult female, for the past 2 years. I also have a son, Jack, teen, from my previous relationship. For the first 18 months I knew Lucy, she was in love with junk food. She would use the money she would get from babysitting the neighbors' kids to buy cookies, chips, and ice cream all the time. It was very unhealthy how much of that crap she was eating. I tried to politely encourage her to switch to something healthier that still tastes good, like yogurt, but she'd always respond with, "You're not my mom, and stop controlling my body." Because of this, she's put on a lot of weight. Anyway, about 6 months ago, she argued with a boy in school. They called each other names, and he ended up calling her a hippo. This made her self-conscious, and she's been trying to improve her health since then. She threw out all her junk food at home and tried to exercise 3 to 4 times a week. She's been making steady progress, and I'm happy she's been taking care of herself. My son, however, has recently taken a liking to Doritos chips. He doesn't eat a lot of it, a packet every other week. He mostly eats them in his room, so Lucy hasn't seen him eating them. But a few days ago, he was watching a TV show downstairs and decided to eat his chips. I was cooking in the kitchen, but then I heard an argument, so I ran out to figure out what was going wrong. Lucy was mad at Jack for eating chips and told him to throw them out because she was trying to lose weight. My son said he could eat whatever he wants. I tried to calmly tell Lucy that Jack is allowed to eat in a common space, and if what he's eating is tempting her, she can nicely ask him to put it away, or she can go to another room until he finishes if he declines her request. That made her angrier, and she accused me of playing favorites and sabotaging her progress. This made me angry because I've done nothing but support her these past few months. I firmly told her she was almost 18 and needed to grow up and accept that not everyone would follow her diet, especially in their homes. She cried to her mom, who's now blowing up my phone, calling me a witch for not supporting her daughter. My husband, her dad, is on my side, but after sleeping on it, I think I could have used a gentler tone. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Her being on a diet doesn't mean other people must diet as well. If she can't eat chips, that's fine. It doesn't sound like other people are trying to force her to eat them. But if her argument is, I'm on a diet, so chips can't be in the house, that only flies if it's her house. If she wants to control what food is in her residence, she must be the sole person paying for the residence. Right? What happens if she goes out to eat with friends? Tell them and everyone else in the restaurant that they can't eat anything unhealthy? It's better to learn that she can't control others' food choices now than have a much less forgiving stranger scream at her in public if she tries to pull something similar with them. It's kind of ironic. She accused OP of controlling her stepdaughter's food choices and body and was furious about it, but it's okay if she does control the food choices and bodies of others. I'm going to get downvoted for this, but you are the idiot. Lucy goes from eating junk food constantly and gaining a lot of weight quickly after you moved in into somebody's making fun of her, and now she's suddenly dieting significantly to the point where even seeing other people eat that food is triggering to her. And nobody thought that maybe she has an eating disorder? Nobody parsed out that perhaps she was eating more because she just had a large shift in family dynamics not too long ago and could be stressed or upset. These are concerning behaviors around food. Somehow, nobody's thought to sit her down and maybe ask why food is a touchy topic for her. It sounds like you have some growing up to do. I'm 18, and when I was around 10, my mom cheated on my father and got pregnant. This resulted in my half-sister, Kathy. Soon after, my parents cut my grandparents out of our life. My parents stayed together. I turned 18 3 months ago, and my grandparents reached out. They informed me over lunch that when Kathy was born, they made it clear they did not see her as a grandkid and that she was the product of my mom cheating on her son. They refused to make a college fund for her, and my parents cut them out due to it. They informed me that I had a college fund from them, and I decided to take it. I came home and kept it to myself. I've been reconnecting with them, and it came to a head today. My parents learned who I was hanging out with. This resulted in an argument for taking the money when they shunned Kathy. I told them they were right not to consider her a grandkid, and screw them for cutting them out of my life. They haven't talked to me since, and I'm doubting myself. Edit. Kathy's bio dad has partial custody. My dad never adopted her. Kathy is not relative to the grandparents at all. They informed me that they were pushing for him to divorce her after this whole thing came out. Not the idiot. It's embarrassing that your parents expected them to make a college fund for her when they didn't have to do it at all for either of you. Take the money. In this economy, you're going to need that college fund. You're also an adult, and you can create your relationship with your grandparents if you want. Your parents are just going to have to suck it up. Your parents should accept that your dad's parents have no obligation to this child that your mom had with another guy. It's not your fault your mom cheated, and it's not your responsibility to make your grandparents accept your half-sister. Even if your dad forgave your mom, that doesn't mean everyone needs to, and that everyone needs to treat this girl like she's your dad's. They even robbed you of your grandparents just because they felt entitled to grandparents' money. They estranged you from your family when your sister has 3 parents. You shouldn't suffer because your mom didn't get a college fund from people who aren't nearly this child's family. Screw them. Take the college money and go off to college.